Hello. So, for everyone that is still with us, thank you so much for being, with this summit like all the way through. That is amazing. Me and Andrea are just going to give some very, very brief, informal closing remarks because so much has been discussed, and there is absolutely no way of summarizing it in a very concise way live. But what we are going to do is spend a bit of time thinking through some of the key takeaways from the sessions, and we'll send that to all the attendees. Um, and so, yeah, I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to say first, Andrea, just in terms of framing before, because I've got a couple of thoughts, but you go first.
First of all, just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has participated either as a panelist, speaker, or as an attendee. And for those of you who attended absolutely every session, there's just an extra crown for you, even though it's virtual, but thank you. And for those of you who were able to come in and out, also crowns for you, because this is a heavy topic. But I think, as you can probably see, there's also just a tremendous amount of momentum, passion, even joy in addressing this issue, because this summit wasn't just about sharing and giving knowledge. It's also about an invitation for community. And clearly my puppy is excited too. So apologies for his enthusiasm. But Sophie, I'll pass it back to you.
I love it. I feel like we need all the momentum, including your puppy, that can
I'd
add.
show him to you, but then he would never leave. He's a real diva.
Exactly. Um, well, one thing that I wanted to just pull apart is the hope that has come through people talking about their experience of sharing their story in particular, but also that we know what we need to do to solve this problem. And I actually think that, one massive residing kind of overwhelming message is we need to create regulation that holds big tech accountable. And that feels like just the most, it came up in almost every single panel. Like, that regulation is going to be so essential. We need tech companies. We would love tech companies to be regulating themselves and pushing this forward because of their understanding of their responsibility. That is not happening. So we need to create public pressure and regulatory pressure to make sure that they are designing their systems safely, securely, effectively, with and not throwing often women and victims of all genders to the wolves, and profiting off of this. But what's great, and what I think something I learned so much from in the What Can Tech Do panel, is remembering those examples of the ways that they have done this before. It seems like such a scary, big, difficult to combat problem sometimes. But if you look at what the tech industry did around pirated content, around child sexual abuse material, if you look at the regulation that we've built on really complex things, such as one of the panelists was speaking about bringing a milk or a chicken to market, we can absolutely solve this problem if we get that political will behind us, if we get that cultural will behind us. And that is why the survivors speaking out piece is so important, because that's the cultural change. That's the grassroots cultural change, and building a movement around this that puts pressure on regulators, on politicians, on the people that are building the laws. So yeah, I guess my main call to arms for everyone is to follow the work of Reclaim, follow the work of My Image, My Choice. We'll keep you updated in terms of what legislation is being brought out, especially in the US context, because that's where we're most familiar, but also globally where we can, and help us make it a safer and more welcoming environment for survivors to share their stories, because that really, 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 really does have a vast ripple effect.
I couldn't agree more. And I wanted to add, for those of you who are listening before or listening to this, when we started Reclaim, it was with this survivor-centered ethos, and that was in large part because we do believe that survivors should never stand the tallest in the face of their own injustice. And I think many of the women who spoke throughout the last 2 days have spoken about that being the case for them. But it doesn't have to be that way. With Reclaim, we really wanted to be survivor first, but not just because survivors have this trauma, but because they have critical expertise. So we think of lived experience as a sector in this space, and if you are listening and you have lived experience and you don't have community or you want to be involved, please reach out to the Reclaim Coalition, myself, or to Sophie with My Image, My Choice. You don't have to stand alone in the face of your injustice. And if you are a policymaker, I encourage you to go back and listen to the relevant discussions around civil remedies, around criminal remedies, around different ways in which we have to give survivors options. And then for the tech community, something that Nina Yankovic said in her session recently was really making sure that tech companies, be it tools or platforms or social media, outlets, really think about those populations that are going to be using your content who are most vulnerable, and design with that ethos. We talk about safety by design, but we have to live it. How does that impact, coders, developers, those who are in the content moderation or content harm moderation, if you will, spaces. And then also, thinking about the fact that there isn't a silver bullet, as Hani Farid actually noted in his session. There's no one thing that's just going to solve it all. And at the end of the day, at the root of it all is the culture shift that we need. And that culture has to be backed by the tech and the regulation that makes that happen. But those are kind of my calls to arm. This is just such an incredible journey and opportunity. And I think that it's just been an incredible array of leaders. But that's kind of all I've got. There's going to be follow-up for everyone who wants to stay involved. But I guess one more thing, don't let this summit be your activism. This summit is the beginning of your activism. So thank you for joining our movement.
Yeah, 100%. Just answering the question about will the recordings be made available? Yes, they absolutely will. And as Andrea said, this is the beginning. There are so many things that we're already doing that people can help contribute to and support, such as on the My Image, My Choice website, we've got draft letters to Google, which have been sent out, and we've started getting response because enough people have been sending those letters that we've heard back from the trust and safety team. And, we're part of that much bigger movement that has been holding them to account and putting fire under those conversations, which has resulted in Google saying that they are reviewing search. So this is a really key moment to get Google, who is such a crucial player in this and such a crucial piece to get right. So please help us with that. We have a load of other stuff coming up, and please share stories on Storyplace. And finally, like a note of hope again, Carrie and Norma have been talking about their long-standing fight against Section 230 and the wish to bring more nuance into that discussion. And for so many years of working in this space, any conversation with politicians around Section 230, it was like, there is no way that's going to change. Don't even bother going there. Like, it gives me hives. I don't want to think about it. But actually, that is already shifting. And in the last couple of months in our conversations with lawmakers, there's a real understanding that needs to change. And that is because of the kind of the public pressure that is being placed so that people understand that, these older models are no longer working. So that is credit to everyone that's been writing emails, signing petitions, telling friends, and all of that stuff. It seems like those small actions don't make an impact, but they really, really do. So yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. And Sophie, it was so good being with you on this session. And there's some amazing comments. I'm not going to name names because I don't know that I have permission, but there's someone who chimed in from the Philippines. We would love to hear from you if you're working in this space. So please reach out.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.